Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's worth your time and bandwidth. The game we're looking at today is Prince of Persia: Warrior Within. The prince is back and he's listened to too many Slipknot albums, bought a fedora and katana, and has become an edgelord. Is this sequel to the landmark Sands of Time worth playing today? Prince of Persia: Warrior Within originally released on PC, OG Xbox, PS2, and the GameCube, and was part of that HD remaster on the PS3. And a playthrough of the game will last you anywhere between 12 and 15 hours depending on your difficulty. So what exactly is Prince of Persia: Warrior Within? Well, it's the sequel to Sands of Time, and in many ways it's the same game with a focus on its parkour platforming, though now with more evolved combat, new story, and more edge than a straight razor. The prince is angsty now, because it's the mid-2000s and a focus group said that sells, and also because after reversing time in the last game, a big nasty time beast called the Dahaka is out to kill him. His only hope is undoing the creation of the sands themselves, requiring him to set sail to the Island of Time to visit the Empress of Time to destroy the Dagger of Time and the Sands of Time. Oh, good grief, this is like God of War 2's Islands of Fates all over again. I'll get more into it with the pros and cons, but the massive tonal shift can't be overstated. Thankfully, the platforming is not only as good as the first game, it's better in many ways. Movement controls are overall much smoother, and in addition, the prince has a host of new moves, such as sliding down tapestries that make traversal even better. The zones and game layout are also different, as now you travel back and forth in time between the modern island and the island of the past, meaning you'll be replaying large areas back to back, but with subtle differences along the way. This makes areas much more open and feel considerably more organic and real when compared to Sands of Time's rather weird palace, and also makes platforming more exciting as the places you engage with are much more interesting. The time reversal mechanic is still here, of course, as well as some new ones, the highlight being the ability to slow down time for everyone but yourself. This leads to some really clever puzzles and also provides a large boon in the new combat. The combat has changed to match the tone. The prince always has one sword but can pick up weapons off his enemies to dual wield and unlock new combos. He can spin around poles to do a quick multi-decapitation or toss his weapon into enemies from a distance. And fights are more focused on fighting mobs than the one-on-one style engagements from the first game, making it a much more visceral affair. And honestly, that's the basic gist of Warrior Within. Its foundation is drawing on Sands of Time, but almost all of the set dressing has changed with an added bonus of a more open style platforming experience and some improved combat. So what do I like about Prince of Persia: Warrior Within? Well, as mentioned, the platforming is still superb, with the controls refined from Sands mixed with a handful of new platforming moves and much better feeling and more organic environments. Speaking of environments, the concept of revisiting places in different time periods might feel like recycling in a lesser game, but here it genuinely is exciting to return to a familiar area, but with platforming challenges significantly shifting. And lastly, I found the more open format of the game and its levels to actually work quite well. Fit its design perfectly and made the island feel very interconnected. When it comes to the bad, I mentioned this before, but the game's massive tonal shift and abundance of edge, particularly regarding the prince, doesn't really gel well with the fun Errol Flynn swashbuckling adventure that the first game had at all, and beyond that kind of makes the main character unlikable. Additionally, while I do feel the combat has significantly improved, it is also these games' Achilles heel. A lot of hits still feel imprecise, and certain enemies' move sets, making them more frustrating to fight than fun. And lastly, here's your warning to charge up those Nathan is political now comments, but I'm gonna say it, this game treats its female characters really poorly. There's only really two in the game, the first one being introduced with just a thong and ass shot, and the second one being very blatantly cleavage, big boob eye candy. Warrior Within really kind of just feels regressive, especially considering how well Farah is written in Sands of Time and Two Thrones. I'm not like saying we should cancel the game or anything, but I am saying it does feel kind of icky. As you know, I rate games on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, and don't bother. I think Warrior Within is definitely a maybe consider. It does a lot right in a sequel when it comes to its gameplay, while absolutely stumbling when it comes to producing an interesting story, character, or tone. It's still an absolutely phenomenal platformer though, so if you're playing through the trilogy, you should still definitely give it a look. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you play Prince of Persia: Warrior Within, please let me know in the comments. But regardless, make sure you give it a look, just don't cut yourself on all that edge.